Mark II Medium Blaster Trooper unit is a core unit for the Rebel Alliance that comes in the Rebel Veterans Unit Expansion box. This emplacement trooper moves at a speed 1 and rolls white defense dice. It has the option of rolling 1 black attack dice both in melee and at ranges 1 to 3, mirroring its Rebel Veterans counterpart. However, the Mark II can also roll 4 black dice with its signature Mark II Medium Blaster, which comes with the keywords Critical 2, Cumbersome, and Fixed Front. We will now break down the keywords associated with the Mark II Trooper and the Mark II Medium Blaster. Detachment is a keyword that places restrictions on when and where players can place units on the battlefield during the deploy units step. Each detachment has a sponsoring unit and can only be placed after their sponsoring unit has deployed onto the battlefield. In the case of the Mark II Medium Blaster, its detachment sponsor is the Rebel Veterans unit. When deploying a detachment, it must be placed within speed 1 and height 1 of the friendly unit leader of which it is a detachment. It may also be deployed beyond the deployment zone as long as its sponsoring unit has deployed following its own deployment rules. Once a unit has been used to fulfill the deployment requirements of a detachment, it cannot be used to do so again for another friendly detachment. For instance, to deploy a second Mark II, you would need a second Rebel Veteran unit for it to detach from. In the example you see here, it is important to note that emplacement troopers such as the Mark II cannot climb or clamber. So, if you chose to deploy on a different height than your sponsoring unit, it would be a good idea to have some stairs or a ladder nearby, or else you're going to be doing a lot of pivoting. The specific rules regarding emplacement troopers are going to be covered in their own video. Pivot is a type of movement which allows a mini with a notched base to change the orientation of its base without moving the unit. Any unit with a notched base may use an action to rotate their figure 90 degrees in any direction. A unit with the full pivot keyword may pivot up to 360 degrees while using the pivot action. This would allow the Mark II to use one action to completely turn around and still perform a second action. Units without the full pivot keyword would need to use 2 actions to pivot 180 degrees. A unit with the reposition keyword may perform a free pivot either before or after a standard move, but not both before and after. In this example, the Mark II Medium Blaster Trooper pivots before moving. Because they have the reposition keyword, the pivot does not count as an action, allowing the Mark II to take another action. I wonder what they'll decide to do next. A unit with Cumbersome may not perform a move and attack, or attack and then move in the same activation. In this example, the Mark II unit has to move into a better position, forfeiting its ability to use its signature weapon. However, because his standard blaster rifle is not considered cumbersome, he may still take a crack shot at one of his enemies. After the Stormtrooper's next activation, the Mark II Trooper may use an activation to pivot into a better position, which does not count against the Cumbersome keyword. You heard me correctly. You may still pivot and attack with a cumbersome weapon. Now, with that information, the veteran may use his medium blaster at full potential, leaving the Stormtroopers wishing that they would have hid behind that tree. It is also very important to note that even if a cumbersome weapon has moved during its activation, it can still attack with the cumbersome weapon if triggered by a standby, allowing the unit to effectively move and then attack in the same round, but never in the same activation. Combine that with the Mark II's Sentinel ability, and you can set your unit up for some incredibly diverse activations.
Red 10 standing by.
The keyword Sentinel allows a unit to increase its standby range from 2 to 3. As with any standby action, if an enemy unit has moved, attacked, or completed an action, leaving it within range and line of sight of your unit, a standby token may be spent to perform a free attack or move. Here we see a unit of stormtroopers spending their first action to move, which puts them in range 3 of the Mark II medium blaster trooper. Because the Mark II's Sentinel keyword boosts the range from 2 to 3, its standby token is triggered, allowing the Mark II to perform a free attack or move action. The Mark II decides to stay put and attack the stormtroopers, removing its standby token in the process. Remember, Sentinel only increases the Mark II's standby range from 2 to 3. All other standby rules are the same. Fixed front and fixed back are keywords that place a restriction on the firing arc of a weapon, limiting a player to firing from either the front or the back of the unit. In this example, the Mark II trooper is deciding whether it should attack the Stormtrooper unit or the Death Trooper unit with its Mark II medium blaster, a weapon that has the fixed front keyword. Thanks to this laser pointer that we stole off some Jawas, we can show you the arc of the Mark II's weapon, and we can see that the Death Troopers are completely outside of the Mark II's range. On the other hand, a few of the Stormtroopers are within the Mark II's fixed front firing arc, meaning they are an eligible target to attack. Fire support is an incredibly powerful keyword that allows a player to attack with 2 units at once, so long as the units are using weapons that are within range of the enemy. Fire support can only be performed by units who have face-up order tokens. In this example, the Rebel player has activated Rebel Veterans and has targeted the Stormtrooper unit. Their Mark II medium blaster trooper, which has a face-up order token, is also in range of the Stormtroopers. And because they have the keyword fire support, they are allowed to join in the attack. Remember, unlike the detachment and coordinate keywords, fire support does not need to be within range 1 of its supporting unit. Furthermore, while this example shows a Mark II supporting a unit of Rebel Veterans, they can fire support with any Rebel unit. So, in this example, when attacking, the Rebel player will combine both the Rebel Veterans attack dice with the Mark II's attack dice. In addition to adding the valuable dice to the attack, the supporting unit also adds its keywords to the attack pool, turning this modest attack of 4 black dice with the Veteran's surge to hit into a powerful barrage of 8 black dice with critical 2, which converts up to 2 surges into critical hits. It is important to remember that using fire support will satisfy the unit's order and complete their activation for the round. In this example, the Mark II's order token is turned face down. It is finished for this round, but has allowed the Rebel player to perform a devastating attack.
Critical is a stackable keyword that allows an attacking player to change surge dice into critical hits, making it extra effective against armor and units in cover. In this example, a unit of Rebel Veterans has added the CM093 Trooper Mini, which has the critical 2 keyword. They target a Stormtrooper unit that is behind heavy cover. The Rebel player will combine the Rebel Vet's 4 black attack dice with the CM Trooper's 4 white attack dice when rolling. The Rebel player rolls 1 critical hit, 1 regular hit, and 2 surges. Under normal circumstances, the Rebel Veterans would convert the surges into hits, which would be eliminated by the cover. However, because of the CM Trooper's critical 2 keyword, the Veterans can convert 2 surges into critical hits, changing both dice results. The remaining hit will go away because of cover, giving the Stormtroopers 3 critical hits to roll against.
Thank you for watching our comprehensive guide to the Mark II Medium Blaster Trooper, which is found in the Rebel Veterans expansion pack, and thank you for watching the Legion Visual Guide.